Coming up on Spartan Sports Report, the football team returned to East Lansing, blanking their opponent with a record-setting play in the process. Men's soccer opened up conference play, and a freshman even claimed the top spot on SportsCenter's top 10. And MSU volleyball looked to continue their winning streak against the hot Western Michigan team.
Welcome into the Spartan Newsroom for a brand new episode of Spartan Sports Report. I'm Yusuf Anaya.
And I'm Dominic Carroll. Yusuf, MSU Athletics had a very eventful week, and it even had some teams staying put in East Lansing and some traveling. And there were some memorable highlights, so let's just get into the action.
Yeah, we start off in Spartan Stadium on Saturday. Michigan State returned home at the top of the Big Ten standings after last week's win at Maryland. The Spartans welcomed in Prairie View A&M for their second home game of the season. Spartans came out swinging. Aiden Childs scored on their first offensive drive with his legs, and then the next drive he showed off his arm. Here's Childs hitting the redshirt freshman Isaiah Johnson for a 17-yard touchdown, the first of his career, and they go up 14-0. Now in the second quarter, Nathan Carter finds a hole and he takes full advantage. He's been waiting for his first one of the season, and what a way it comes. He went 60 yards to the crib, and he extends the lead. In the closing seconds of the first half, Charles Brantley, who had a pick called back earlier, he'd pick it off in the Panthers' end zone, and he made sure to take this one all the way back. He went 100 yards to the house, and the Spartans would coast to an impressive 40-0 victory. And here's Brantley after the game with more on the historic play.
I was just more so on responding off the penalty that we had. I was like, okay, we got a pick six. They called the flag. Okay, we got to respond now. Then they drove us down. I'm like, all right, now it's. Then they tried to run a fake play. You know, I seen it, read it, and they threw it up, and I caught it. I'm like.
With the win, the Spartans improved to 3-0 on the season for the first time since 2021. Michigan State's next test will be in Chestnut Hill to take on Boston College with kickoff at 8.
The Michigan State men's soccer team hosted the Washington Huskies on Friday. It was Alumni Day at DeMartin Stadium as the Spartans began conference play against a new Big Ten foe. It was an even first half of play with neither team being able to break through. But then in the 61st minute, Jonathan Stout connects from outside the penalty box for his second goal of the season to give the Spartans the lead. Later in the second half, Washington looks to respond, but then freshman Brandon Munson denies the Huskies' attempt with a phenomenal bicycle kick that earned the top spot on SportsCenter's top 10 plays. In a last-ditch effort, the Huskies were aggressive, but Spartans goalkeeper Zach Kelly held strong with two big saves to close out the 1-0 win. Kelly was solid in his second shutout performance of the season, but he credits this as a team win.
Yeah, I think we learned a lot about our team, what we needed to do, our individual roles, and this was really coming together of that, and we proved today what we need to do to win and be successful and compete. It was a big game for us.
The Spartans will travel to Penn State to take on the Nittany Lions on Friday.
After sweeping the field in the Kathy DeBoer Invitational for the second straight year, the volleyball team was riding high going into their matchup against Western Michigan. The Spartans welcomed in the defending MAC champions to the Breslin Center on Wednesday night. The Broncos got off to a hot start, going up 16-7 to open the first set. Michigan State then went on an 8-2 run with two aces from Taylor Hold'em, but the Broncos would take the first set 25-17. Michigan State continued to fight in the second set, battling back and forth with the Broncos. With Western up 23-21, the Broncos would score the last 2 points to go up 2-0 in the match. The Spartans would start the third set leading 5-1 with Taylor Preston registering 2 kills, but the Broncos would end up going on a run to take the lead and finish the sweep. Michigan State traveled to Ypsilanti on Monday to face off against Eastern Michigan. The Spartans were able to come away with a 3-0 sweep and will face Purdue Fort Wayne back in the Breslin Center tonight.
This past weekend, the Spartan field hockey team walked away with victories in both of their games to wrap up non-conference play. They first traveled to Louisville, Kentucky on Friday to take on the Bellarmine Knights. The Spartans got on the board early with a goal from Maddie Lawler in the first minute of the game. Later, Emma O'Neill and Carmen Puchetta and Ellie Rutherford notched their own goals, leading the Spartans to a 4-2 victory. They traveled back to East Lansing to face off against the Colgate Raiders. Head coach Helen Knoll earned her 100th career victory in the team's dominant 5-0 win. Up next, the team will head over to Columbus, Ohio to take on the Ohio State Buckeyes for their Big Ten opener.
The Michigan State women's soccer team traveled to College Park to take on Maryland in their first Big Ten matchup of the season. The Spartans got on the board early when sophomore Bella Najera scored in the first 68 seconds, and they did not slow down there. 5 minutes later, Emily Matthews scored her 5th goal of the season to take the team lead, and Ella Jans, Ellie Marn, and Julia Belli all scored their first in the green and white. The Spartans ran away with a 5-0 win with a record of 6-0-2 on the season. Starting off conference play hot, Michigan State is now ranked in first in the NCAA RPI ranking and hosts Nebraska this Thursday.
Michigan State men's golf and women's golf swung into their first match of the year at the American Dunes Golf Club in the Folds of Honor Collegiate. Senior Brooke Bierman led the women's team at 4 over through 3 rounds to leave her tied for 11th. Michigan State as a team finished tied for 4th with a combined score of 19 over par. Michigan State men's golf was led by senior Ashton McCullough, a 2024 U.S. Open qualifier, where he missed the cut by 5 strokes. McCullough shot 6 under at American Dunes, placing him tied for 4th and 3 shots back of the lead. This includes 4 straight birdies in the final round. The Spartans also placed 4th as a team, shooting a combined score of 9 over. The men's golf team will tee off their final round today in the Golf Canada Collegiate. The women's team will stay in East Lansing to honor former head coach in the Mary Fossum Invitational this weekend.
Thank you for watching this week's episode of Spartan Sports Report.
Don't forget to check out all of our social media accounts below, as well as our Spartan Newsroom website for more content. I'm Dominic Carroll.
And I'm Yusuf Anaya. We'll see you all next week.